Right, given the weather this week, there really is no better time for a great day out in Scotland. Each week on the programme, we send Sunday Mail columnist and travel writer Kat Harvey out around Scotland to report on the perfect day excursion. The idea is you can get there in a day and back again. So far, she has been north. She's been south. She's been east and west. Take a listen to how a few locals describe this week's location.
The best 3 clues to describe this location are a clan trail, haunting moor and stunning loch.
The best 3 clues to describe this location are picturesque loch, the River Tummel and famous remote station.
The best 3 clues to describe this location are: we're in the middle of a big moor, there's a beautiful station tea room here, and we're surrounded by gorgeous lochs and hills.
The best 3 clues to describe this location are circular loch road, jousting competition and picture postcard views.
That's what the locals say. What does she say? Kat Harvey, where were you?
I was in Kinloch Rannoch and the area round about it up to Rannoch Station as well, which was absolutely beautiful. I've never actually been there before, Stephen, so this is a good one. It was a wee day out that took me off my normal path, and I would thoroughly recommend it if you want to go somewhere just to kind of refocus, re-energise and switch off from the crazy world that is out there. What made you choose Kinloch Rannoch? Do you know what? It was a pin in the map job, to be honest. I was sitting looking at the map and I'm like, where will I go next? Where will I go next? And I'd met a couple of people that had been on the Outlander Trail. You know how there's so many tourists going around Scotland trying to locate where the TV show's been filmed.
Sure.
And they'd headed up to Kinloch Rannoch because I think the Standing Stones are near there, or where they filmed that. And they said it was absolutely beautiful. So I thought, I've never been, and this is the whole purpose of this wee day. So I just got in my car and I went. So it's like, just to kind of set the scene, it's 18 miles west of Pitlochry. So it's on the sort of eastern edge of Loch Rannoch, and it's on the banks of the River Tummel as well. So it's a tiny little village in a remote part of Highland Perthshire.
Remote indeed. So
Yes.
What are the options? You drove. What are the options for getting there, Kat?
Yeah, if I'm truthfully honest, I think I would tell you to drive. If you can get a car, it's probably the easiest way to do it. It's less than 2 hours from Glasgow or Edinburgh. It's only an hour and a half from Inverness, 2 hours from Aberdeen. So it is very accessible from kind of most places. You can get the train if you want to Pitlochry, East Coast Line to Pitlochry, and then get the number 82 bus, or you can get the West Coast Line to Rannoch Station. But things that you should be aware of, Rannoch Station is actually 18 miles from Kinloch Rannoch. So
yes.
It's not like if you book a hotel in Kinloch Rannoch and you get into the Rannoch Station, you've got to get your way down there. But they do have a really cool thing, which I like about these little places, and they have Rannoch Dial-a-Bus. So basically, if you arrive at the station, you can phone the bus and the bus will come and take you to where you want to go.
Fabulous.
Which is brilliant.
What were your first thoughts when you arrived?
My first thoughts were, I am in the middle of nowhere. I am literally in the middle of nowhere, and it's tiny. It is tiny. There's not that much in the village, but it is very, very cute. There's a lot of lovely people there. I did meet some friendly locals. The wee Riverbank Cafe does good homemade soup, which is always very important on a day out. But I think the thing that blew me away was just the scenery. It's just beautiful.
It's a very outdoorsy kind of place, isn't it?
Absolutely. If you like your cycling and walking and things like that, just take yourself there and get lost in the place. It's a really good cycle route, actually. The loch has got a 20-mile circular road round it, and the road's actually very quiet, so it's good for bikes. It's pretty flat as well if you're not good with hills like me. And you do go through, there's a north road and a south road, but if you do the whole circle, you will actually cycle through the ancient forest, which is the old Blackwood of Rannoch, and that's one of the few patches of the original Caledonian pine forest. So it does feel like you're going back in time and that you could be in a movie like Braveheart or something. So it does feel really, really special. Good destination for families? Absolutely brilliant for families. As I said, you can rent bikes, you can go to the outdoor centre, there's boat trips in the loch, you can do fishing if you get a permit. I think the kids would quite like the clan trail as well. So they've got a signposted route right the way round the loch that tells the story of all the clans that used to live there, who used to, like, it was quite gory, to be honest. They weren't very fond of each other. So if you're a Cameron, a Robertson, a Stewart, a McDougall, a MacDonald, a Menzies or a McGregor, you can go there and find out what went on back in the day. A lot of thieving went on. They're famous for their thieving. They're nicking cows off of each other. So some interesting history there, but I think the kids would love it. But just getting outside again, Stephen, it's just brilliant.
As always, our preoccupation is eating and drinking on all these days out, Kat. So what's available? What are the highlights?
I say the number one place you have to go, but just because it's so quirky and beautiful, is the tea room at Rannoch Station. So it's one of the most remote stations in Scotland. As I said, 18 miles from Kinloch Rannoch, and it's run by Bill and Jenny. Homemade cakes, all that kind of stuff. They've won awards for it. But the station is, if you can imagine, 2 rails, and then the station tea room is in the island in the middle of it. And then to one side you have Rannoch Moor and just nothing, like hills and clouds and beautiful scenery. So it does feel that there's this little tea room in the middle of nowhere. And do you know what they do, which is brilliant? See, if you're on social media, you can actually place your order. So say you're on the train from Glasgow and you're going up to Fort William or somewhere, you can place an order like a drive-by. So the train will come in and they'll stand and hand you a bacon roll.
I totally love it.
Which is just the best thing. So, if you're 2 stations away and you fancy a coffee and a couple of scones, put your order in and they'll come and they'll hand it to you before you go.
How good is that?
Amazing. And also, do you know what they have? And this is what I love about little places in Scotland. They have an honesty kettle. So basically what happens if the tea room's shut when you get there and you're waiting for a train, they have a kettle and tea and coffee and milk in the little waiting room, and they have a selection of Tunnock's biscuits as well. So you can just put your little pound or whatever it costs you or whatever. And apparently Bill told me that to this day they've never, ever, ever lost out on it.
Oh, that is
Isn't
good
that
to
nice?
hear. That is.
Yeah.
I am going to definitely. I was up in Kinloch Rannoch for a 50th birthday party last year and got there quite late. Woke up with a very, very sore head, which I think was due to, I don't know, probably the altitude or something up there. And I started driving to Kinloch Rannoch Station because I'd read about the tea room, but I gave up at about 5 miles.
It's quite a bendy wee road. It's not one. Do you know what you should have done? You should have got the dial-a-bus to come and pick you up.
I didn't know about that then.
Yep.
Now I would. You see, that's the beauty of this feature. Now, something else we should be asking you at this time of year. How were the midges?
The midges were fair to middling. They weren't terrible, but they were definitely there. And you know that they're a permanent feature in the local area when on the board at the station tea room, they say homemade cakes, homemade soup and midge repellent. That's the 3 things that they're selling. So yeah, I would definitely take that if you're going hiking. But another great thing to do, there's a fantastic equestrian centre there, Rannoch Equestrian Centre, and it's run by Andy, who used to be head of horsemanship at Sandhurst. And me and my friend Fiona went and had a fun afternoon with him. And I thought we were going trekking, but no, it's ex-race horses that are there.
Oh.
So he teaches horse skills, which was great.
Ex-Sandhurst, I bet he's a big handsome man.
He was a lovely man, yes.
Did you like that?
Obviously, yes, of course.
Yeah, Andy's on the line now.
Oh, is he? Oh, brilliant.
Morning, Andy.
Just as well I said that.
Fat and dumpy man, you mean?
Listen, it's all a matter of taste, and I'm quite fond of fat and dumpy.
Andrew, good to have you with us this morning. How long have you been a resident Kinloch Rannoch?
About 9 years now.
And what brought you there?
I've got a lot of family here, so it was quite a no-brainer when I come back to Scotland after coming out the forces.
What's it like as a place to live, as a local now?
Oh, it's great. It's just peaceful. Everybody helps each other out. Just a good community.
And the equestrian centre, tell me Kat was along there. She tried it out. What have you got to offer there for visitors?
Well, everything for anybody. We'll do harness driving. We can do riding lessons. But what Kat was actually doing was we started her off on jousting. We've got a jousting tournament at the weekend.
No way.
Yep, Stephen, that's how I'm all about the jousting.
Damsel in distress, maybe.
Yeah, Andy, I think what you forgot to mention was you had me jousting on an ex-racehorse that ran at Cheltenham. It's
Aye, yeah, well, a retrained racehorse.
Is this a new thing, Andrew, for this year, this summer?
Yes, aye. Very first for Rannoch. It was a new location with a bit of help from the Clan Rannoch. We've got a couple of guys coming up to do the jousting. We roped in a couple of the Highland Club, who are one of the main sponsors, and Richard Barclay from Inner Haddon Estate, which is also Rannoch Smokery. And with their help, we managed to put the whole event together.
Fantastic. When's it taking place?
Saturday and Sunday.
OK, so this is the perfect time, and the weather's looking good for it?
Oh, It's going to be good for everybody but the jousters with all that armour on.
Oh, I suppose that'll be hot. Now, Andy,
Yeah.
are you going to do... You did tell me that you could chop a cabbage in half at 20 miles an hour with a sword. Will that be
Yes.
happening at the weekend?
Yes. Well, we'll attempt to.
He's got all the chat-up lines for the
I'll
ladies,
tell you
hasn't
what,
he?
if that doesn't make
we're
you want to go
doing-
to
we're
Kinloch Rannoch, what
Yeah,
will?
we're going to serve free coleslaw.
Andy McCabe, thank you very much. Good luck this weekend, owner of the Kinloch Rannoch Equestrian Centre. Right, Kat, let's wrap this up here.
Yes.
Who would you recommend this day out to?
Well,
Who do you think it would best suit?
Pretty much anyone that likes the outdoors. If you're a big shopper, don't go there. There's only like one little craft shop and stuff like that. But if you want to it's just atmospheric. It's remote. It's stirring. You can walk from over Rannoch Moor to Glen Cove from the station. It's only 12 miles. If you just want to get back to nature, it's brilliant. I went with my friend Fiona, who I was at uni with, and we just had a day out and we caught up. So it's quite nice to do that. Switch off your phone. I was listening to you earlier. Switch off your phone and just enjoy the great outdoors. It's just beautiful.
Give us 3 words to describe Kinloch Rannoch.
Oh, it is remote, it is ethereal, and it is inspiring.
What would you recommend for first-time visitors to do when they get there?
Just hang about the loch. Go for a walk in the loch. It's actually got some really beautiful little sandy beaches at it, so that they're not, right at the car parks or anything. So you will have to drive about, but find your own wee spot. Get out, put your little travel rug down, have a picnic, and just enjoy the scenery. It's beautiful.
And marks out of 10 for this one?
This is a surprising one for me because, truthfully, I didn't really know where it was before I head off. I'm going to give it a spanking big 9.
Wow. When was the last time? You haven't done that for a while.
I haven't done that for a while, but I think it was because I learned how to joust.
That elevated
On
it
a
up a little
racehorse.
bit. Angus
Yeah.
has been on the text, Cat, this morning.
Okay.
40 years ago and a bit more as well. My good lady and I visited not only Kinloch Rannoch, but the public toilets there too, separately, of course,
Okay.
I should say. Neither of us had ever seen such elaborate toilet graffiti, and I was a tad disappointed to learn from a friend last year that it's no longer there.
Oh, I was not aware of the art in the public bogs. I should maybe pay more attention.
You may need to go back now. It's obviously been cleaned up, or maybe they've demolished the toilets.
Maybe
one of
that's
the two.
another feature because Dunbar and North Berwick have fabulous public toilets. I do get that information when I do my travels.
We could move this feature on to
We
being your
could.
guide to public toilets in Scotland as the year progresses. Listen, just earlier on, we were asking listeners for the weird tourist attractions because the Fatberg is getting the crowds into the Museum of London at the moment. Weirdest tourist attractions you visited, Kat?
Well, I was laughing. You were talking about the world's biggest pencil, and it was down in England somewhere.
That's Keswick, the Pencil Museum.
I'm not entirely sure because I have been to the world's biggest pencil, and it was in America.
No.
So you might have to check that out. It was in the City Museum in St. Louis in Missouri. They claim to have the world's biggest pencil.
They claim,
Yep.
that's the key.
They
claim.
also have the world's largest Y fronts. And in Branson, Missouri as well. Missouri's quite good for these kind of things. I went to see the world's largest banjo.
They just like big things,
They do.
basically,
They
don't
really
they?
do.
Kat, where are you off to next week?
It's a bit of a surprise. But again, it's going to involve a lot of outdoor stuff and sharks.
North, south, east or west?
Central.
Ooh, and sharks.
Sharks.
Crikey, that's worrying. Kat, look forward to it. Back with another great day out next Wednesday on the programme. 10:51, Wednesday morning. This is BBC Radio Scotland.